Hello YouTubers, we're in an all-new movie review, and today I'm going to be going over my review and thoughts of the 1995 film Batman Forever. Batman Forever stars Val Kilmer as Bruce Wayne / Batman, Chris O Donnell as Dick Grayson, Nicole Kidman as Dr. Chase Meridian, Jim Carrey as the Riddler, Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, and Alfred Gough returns as Alfred Pennyworth, and Pat Hingle returns as Commissioner Jim Gordon. This installment is directed by Joel Schumacher. So yeah, Batman Forever. Tim Burton stepped down as director and is now producer, with Joel Schumacher taking over the reins of the Batman films. And it's due in part because of the bad reception Batman Returns got. Not necessarily critically, but as far as content and it not being family friendly. There was a lot of outraged parents for some reason, since it had McDonald's tie-ins, toy tie-ins to the film. It was graphic, so to speak, for some parents, and there was some outrage. Tim Burton wanted to direct another one with Riddler in mind. Rumor is they're going to have Rene Russo as a love interest with Robin Williams as the Riddler and Marlon Wayans as Robin. He actually filmed a scene for Batman Returns that was cut, and still, even though he wasn't Robin in this, he was actually paid his full salary. Anyway, Tim Burton got the idea that Warner Brothers did not want him to move forward with it, so he just stepped back. He realized that they did not want him to direct it. So Joel Schumacher came on board, and they kind of met in the middle, really. They knew what Batman and the character was about to a degree, and when Joel Schumacher took the reins, Michael Keaton was going to reprise his role. However, through script changes and directions, he saw the campy direction it was going towards, and he didn't like that. He liked the darker elements of Tim Burton's universe, so Michael Keaton stepped down. Now the role of Batman was open, and it ended up going to Val Kilmer. He previously starred in Top Gun. He recently, before this, starred in the film Tombstone as Doc Holliday, and he was filming Ghost in the Darkness. And it was strange because he was in a Batcave when he got the news of being Batman. He didn't read the script, but he accepted it, and he is the new Batman Bruce Wayne. You also have the addition of Robin with Chris O Donnell, who was recently in movies like Scent of a Woman and The Three Musketeers. You had Nicole Kidman up and rising as Dr. Chase Meridian, and then Jim Carrey, hot off the success of Ace Ventura, was the Riddler. And you didn't have Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent Two-Face in this. It ended up going to Tommy Lee Jones, who recently won an Oscar for The Fugitive. So Billy D. Williams is kind of given the shaft as far as Two-Face. I was really excited to see where he would go as being Two-Face, so they ended up recasting him with Tommy Lee Jones. Anyway, you also have Debbie Mazar and Drew Barrymore star in the film in small roles. And again, Alfred Gough and Pat Hingle return. They're the only actors to be in all the Batman films of the anthology series. Anyway, through script changes and direction, Batman Forever got started. And what is the story of Batman Forever? Well, Batman Forever starts with Batman suiting up. Two-Face just broke out of Arkham Asylum. It takes hostages. On the second anniversary, he became Two-Face, again with the number 2. And the way it starts off is really, really great, but Gotham looks very different. It's all neon color, pink. It's basically like Saturday Night Fever on acid, but in a bad way. It feels more like Batman Beyond than something like the Tim Burton Batman. This is a total departure from the previous 2 films, with only some things feeling like the previous ones. Overall, Gotham must be a lot more peaceful, or it just went through a massive transition. Anyway, Batman fights Two-Face, and Two-Face gets away after a confrontation, but is here where he meets Dr. Meridian Chase, who is a criminal psychologist there. She's interested in both Two-Face and Batman, but she has a romantic interest in Batman. She ends up being the love interest for both Bruce Wayne and Batman through the course of this film. Anyways, after that incident, we're then introduced to Edward Nygma, who is a Wayne Enterprises employee. He has this idea for this device that can basically manipulate and read brainwaves. Bruce Wayne thinks it's too dangerous, declines it, and he gets upset. He's kind of like a stalker. He's obsessed with Bruce Wayne, and he says he'll make him understand. Anyways, from this, we get a little bit more romantic interest between Dr. Chase Meridian and Batman. But then we're going out on a date, to make a long story short, and it's the circus. Again, it's Robin's origin. We get to see the Flying Graysons and a subtle homage to the comic book outfit from the 40s. Anyway, in this version, Two-Face is the one that kills Robin's parents. He doesn't have anywhere to stay, so Bruce Wayne takes him in. Meanwhile, he has a quest for vengeance, much like a young Bruce Wayne. And it is in this film where, after seeing the attacks at the circus, Edward Nygma becomes inspired and becomes the Riddler, and he teams up with Two-Face to kill Batman. He wants to get back at Bruce Wayne, but he'll help him kill the Batman. So here we have Riddler and Two-Face team up, causing havoc in Gotham City. And overall, through the course of the film, it's about Dick Grayson moving on from the death of his parents, Batman remembering why he became Batman in the first place. He's been thinking a lot about his parents' death and the reasons for doing this, for being Batman. He doesn't feel the need to be Batman anymore. And ultimately, this film has a theme about choice and fate. And it's really Batman. It's really Bruce Wayne's choice to be Batman. Not because he has to be, but because he chooses to be. And that's interesting. You also get Edward Nygma sending riddles to both Bruce Wayne and Batman, so you get to see a little bit more of his detective side. Even though those riddles are very easy, that still is another side, another element we haven't seen in the previous films. Anyway, through some different adventures, Robin, Dick Grayson, helps fight criminals, helps fight a little bit of Riddler's goons and stuff, saves Batman. He wants to team up with him. Bruce Wayne doesn't want it. Meanwhile, he deals with a love triangle with himself and Dr. Meridian Chase. She chooses Bruce Wayne over Batman. He smiles. Yeah, one of the few times Batman smiles. Anyway, make a long story short, the Riddler pretty much figures out that Batman is Bruce Wayne, attacks him and kidnaps Dr. Chase Meridian, which the third act has Dick Grayson become Robin. He's in the Robin suit. Alfred tailored it for him, and the both of them basically fight in the third act against Two-Face and Riddler. Such a climatic third act. Yeah, and as always in these movies, good triumphs over evil. And it is the end, that iconic shot where they run out in slow motion. So yeah, it's a good story, but it's a real departure from the first two. Cons. There's a lot, actually, but this is an enjoyable film. Pros, it's more enjoyable than Batman Returns in many ways, and is more faithful to the comics in some ways. Cons, really, is the campiness, the more family-friendly element, and just all around, it's just very neon and just different. It doesn't feel like the same universe. And Batman Returns didn't feel like Batman, but at least they're more connected. This one just feels completely different. It can almost be a reboot by today's standards, even though it's a sequel. And they put nipples on the Batsuit. Who the hell puts nipples on the Batsuit? Luckily, it's not that big of an issue like in Batman and Robin, and sometimes Val Kilmer can come across as wooden in his voice work and performance, but he does a great job at sounding very close to Michael Keaton. He doesn't look like Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne, but when he's under the Batsuit, he sounds very close to Michael Keaton, where when I was a kid and had no concept of actors, I thought it was the same guy. Anyways, Val Kilmer does his best, and I actually think, and Bob Kane thought, that he was the best representation of Bruce Wayne Batman at that point. And yeah, he's fit. He actually looks like Bruce Wayne. Like he could be Bruce Wayne. So he fits the suit part of it and like the physicality of Bruce Wayne. And I also like that you get to see him at Wayne Enterprises. That's something you never really saw in the previous ones. He always seemed like a creep who stayed at his home all day. Like this one really gets to show more of the business aspect. We kind of got a taste in Returns, but this one shows him as CEO of Wayne Enterprises. Another thing I really like is it's the first time we see Arkham Asylum. There's a little homage with Dr. Burton there for Tim Burton, but yeah, there's just a lot more stuff from the comics. Now, it is a different Robin origin as far as Dick Grayson, but Two-Face did kill Tim Drake's parents, so that's where they kind of got it there. I like some of the homages there. And also with the references to the Joker, where Robin's just like, your family wasn't killed by a psychopath, and then Bruce Wayne's like, yes, they were. So I like the little nods, so even though it's a different universe, it feels more connected. Overall, it has the entertainment factor and enjoyability that the first 1989 one had. Dr. Chase Meridian's great. I love Nicole Kidman in this movie, but Jim Carrey really steals the show. He's pretty much, I mean, he does his usual Jim Carrey gimmick, but he's more like the Frank Gorshin Riddler from the Adam West show, and he adds a little bit more other elements in there. I like it. Tommy Lee Jones starts off really well, and then just becomes a calculating Joker. He's pretty much trying to pull a Jack Nicholson Joker, which works for like a cheesy villain and just overall over-the-top, larger-than-life villain, but for Two-Face it doesn't work, and it kills me because there's some parts in the film at the beginning and in the deleted scenes that shows you what Tommy Lee Jones is capable of and shows you the parts of the character that are so beloved in the cartoon and the comic books, and it's a shame we never got like the actual definitive version of Two-Face, because I know Tommy Lee Jones could have pulled it off if they took it seriously. I like Chris O'Donnell's Robin. He's a little bit older, but it's like the animated series one. I like how he finds the Batcave. That stuff is cool. I like the dynamic and rift between him and Bruce Wayne. And Bruce Wayne having a partner, not wanting a partner. He's still Batman. He still wants to fight this crusade alone. I like the themes there of him wanting a normal life again. And why is he being Batman? Why was he Batman in the first place? There's a cool deleted scene that further explores this Red Book subplot. He keeps having flashbacks to his father's diary and when he fell into the cave. There's a cool deleted scene where he actually meets the Bat that he saw when he was a child that expands on that more and him having amnesia. But overall, the action is spectacular. I do like the new Batmobile. It's a nice touch. Despite the nipples, though, it's a very cool suit. It's the Panther suit. I like the design of it. It feels like the last two, but it has the muscles more of like the 89 suit. It's like the cowl that was refined in Returns with like the body armor of the 1989 suit. Above that, Alfred Guff does a great job. I like it where Robin takes a joyride and he keeps telling Bruce Wayne, it's just like, he took the car. He's like, the Bentley? He's like, no, the other car. And he keeps saying cars. He's like, no, sir, the other car. And it's Robin on a joyride. I love it where they're like, that's not Batman, that's Batboy. He's like, I forgot my suit at home, alright? I love Chris O'Donnell's performance there. And when that girl said, is this the part where you kiss the girl? That was actually improvised, actually. I like that part. The part that sounds like Michael Keaton is when Val Kilmer says, if Bruce Wayne could have given his life for your parents, he would have. That part sounded like Michael Keaton. But I like the redesigned Batwing and Batboat in the sonar suit. That ultimate last confrontation, the reference to the 60s show where he's like, holy rusted metal, Batman, and Batman's like, huh? And he's like, you know, full of holes. Cheesy, but kind of funny in the way that like the phone booth scene's funny from Superman the movie. Above all, it's over the top, it's blockbuster fun, but it's an enjoyable film even though it is a departure in story and stuff. But it's not full camp like Batman and Robin. This film still has some very dark elements in it. If I had to give it a score, I would give it just a little bit over Returns as far as enjoyability. Even though the first two are better movies, I personally enjoy Batman Forever as my second favorite out of the anthology under 89. So I would give Batman Forever a 3.5 out of 5. That is my score for Batman Forever. And also, Elliot Goldenthal has a soundtrack for this. The con is too, I don't like them replacing Danny Elfman's theme, but it does sound like a heroic theme, that dun na 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 na. I like it, but I don't love it like the Danny Elfman theme. And since it's the same series, it's a shame they didn't use it, considering they use it in almost all the trailers for this film. This has a good soundtrack. You had Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me by U2. Kiss from a Rose, even though it was on a 94 album, was featured in a music video for this film. So every time I hear that, I think of Batman Forever. And vice versa. You also have Bad Days by the Flaming Lips. The song where he takes the Batmobile on a joyride, Robin does, is Smash It Up by The Offspring. Crossing the River, just a lot of good music on here. The soundtrack's pretty good, and overall I like that ending, and then it's like Don't Work Too Late, and then that runoff in slow motion is nice. Now originally, I didn't know this till recently, they're going to have a different ending on top of a gargoyle. Looks a bit odd, but hey, that would have been kind of a cool 1989-esque ending, almost like the animated series or something. But what I liked about this film is that even though it had a lot of characters, it felt more streamlined than Returns. Riddler and Two-Face were more connected, and it started with Two-Face while developing Edward Nygma and then having him as a Riddler and then both of them as villains. It wasn't like you just got a lot of stuff and it just felt rushed. Like, it really felt genuine, and it felt like it took its time to develop everything. It wasn't like the second or fourth films of the series. This film really felt streamlined, connected. I love the stuff with Robin, again, him finding the Batcave, but all the stuff dealing to the team-up. It builds up, it feels earned. And I like how they take their time to develop all the little characters. Also, with Two-Face, you get a cool CNN, or GNN, Gotham News Network, footage of Sal Maroni scarring Harvey Dent's face and Batman failing to save him, like from the comics. That was a cool little Easter egg in there. It adds more history to the character. Above all, this film is kind of like a missed opportunity. There's so many great little nuggets, so many dark moments, and you wonder, how do we end up with this? Ultimately, it's the studio wanting a more family-friendly film because they listen to parents who probably shouldn't have shown their kids the other movies anyway. But sadly, that's what it was, and this was really the start of the end for Batman, at least this anthology series, before it was dead for 8 years, before Batman and Robin, and eventually when they rebooted it with the Dark Knight trilogy. But overall, it's not a bad movie. It's a missed opportunity. It's very dated. It feels very 90s now. But it's an enjoyable film for what it is. And again, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. I kind of grew up with this movie. I remember getting it on VHS. My mom bought it for me on Halloween. I dressed up for Batman from this with a sonar suit. The ears would always bend. But I remember this movie very vividly, so if you're a 90s kid, you know this movie. Now, I grew up with 89 and Returns on video, but this was the first Batman I saw in theaters, so I remember this vividly. 1995. Remember the Sega game and the Super Nintendo game? Is like the real game begins. And they had an ending very similar to the 89 movie, but this one was a very solid film for what it was. Again, Val Kilmer does a great job. He's not Michael Keaton, but he does something completely different that makes him have a unique take on the role. He makes it his own. I like Chris O Donnell as Robin. He's not too annoying. He's believable. He adds something young and just kind of like energetic to the role. I like Nicole Kidman as Dr. Meridian Chase and her relationship with Bruce and Batman. Very much reminds me of like Vicky Vale from the original. The Riddler, Jim Carrey in this is larger than life the way Jack Nicholson was larger than life as the Joker, and he feels like he's doing his own thing. Where Tommy Lee Jones, I love him as an actor, but this one, the way they executed it was too much like a calculating Joker where he really could have done something crazy. Again, maybe would have benefited if they just had one villain. But above all, for having two villains, this actually felt like a very focused movie without being everywhere like some other films in the genre. And it was a big blockbuster hit, so above that, I give it a 3.5 out of 5, and I enjoyed it for what it was, and probably the last good Batman out of the old ones, before we got to the abomination that was Batman and Robin. Well, anyway, if you haven't seen Batman Forever, I would highly recommend checking it out, and the first two Tim Burton Batmans. Also, if you have seen Batman Forever, did you like it? Did you hate it? What was your favorite moment in it? I like the part where he gets out from the water from the beginning, and I also like the part where Robin and him team up. And then the part where he's on the roof and Two-Face is there and he like jumps and there's like that crazy gliding sequence. And then of course the ending. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, click the like button, comment, subscribe for more videos, and also check out my previous reviews of Batman and Batman Returns. Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?